Welcome to IGH Going Rogue. Today is Wednesday, March the 5th. And for everybody that I know, everybody probably watching this saw the amazing, historic, kick-ass State of the Union last night. Even though the fucking left won't call it a State of the Union, it was a State of the Union. And man, that was amazing. We got Rod Wittstadt, our old lawyer buddy, back to dismangle that whole fiasco from the left. Why don't we start it off, Mr. Producer, with America's Back. Give us that clip.
Oh, that was great.
That was awesome, bro.
Members of the United States Congress, thank you very much. And to my fellow citizens, America is back.
Boom. Dude, that was badass, right? I mean, what a way to fucking kick this off. I mean, he just shoved it to the left right out of the gates.
Yeah. I was in a text group last night with a bunch of like-minded individuals, and as he really started ramping it up,
yeah, man,
I was like, you know what he's doing? He's just saying "fuck you" to those people.
That's exactly what he did, dude. That's exactly what he did, and you know what? And they came prepared to disrupt, to be assholes, to fuck with him, and he took it right to him, man, right out of the gates, right?
He did. Honestly, though, I don't think, you know what, the Democrat Party is in such, disarray. You had, Joaquin Jeffries, before the address telling people to chill out, and it was just, they're not together. They don't have their shit together. And it was apparent last night. I mean, yeah, they all, sat there stone-faced, but some of those idiots with those paddles that they were holding up. I mean, protect our veterans. I'm a veteran. What the hell are you? What does that mean? And Elon steals.
Elon steals. Hey, so you're a lawyer. That's why I'm glad you brought it up. Can Elon sue them?
No. Well, I mean, look, anyone can do anything, but Elon is now in the public. He's a public.
Yeah, but that's an accusation that he's a thief.
You have to show actual malice when you're at that level. Like when you're at Trump's level and you're at Elon's level. Like if they would have had a paddle up that last night that said, Ivan steals. Yes, 100%. That is a slander case, but. The Supreme Court has made it extremely difficult for celebrities, public figures to be successful in a libel or slander case.
Yeah, but they're accusing him. They're accusing him of being
level of privacy that we do. That's why.
Yeah, but they're accusing him of being a thief, a criminal.
I hear you, but I'm telling you what the law is. That's what the law is here in the United States. Is you have to prove actual malice and damages, and that was just a political stunt. That's all that was.
Yeah, well, malice. They didn't do it to fucking, try and raise the shares of Tesla and SpaceX, right? I mean, come on.
It's interesting. I don't know. I don't remember who said it this morning, but one of the commentators was like, "Yeah, Elon is they're launching a SpaceX." Rocket today, right? With some new booster on it. Like he's got a lot going on.
Well, he's going to save those astronauts that have been stranded up there for 8 months.
Yeah, I wonder if the woman's going to come back pregnant.
Oh, wow. Don't even go there, dude. But hey, it can happen, right?
Well, of course, dude. That one of the reasons that there was such an objection to having women aboard ship is that they all came off the ship pregnant. I'm not kidding you. Yeah. You can look that up in the Navy. When they put women on board a ship, they came back pregnant.
Yeah, dude. I mean, you get locked up for months and months and months. What's going to happen is, natural, I don't know what you want to call it, but, men need women, women need men. You're locked up together. I don't know,
Did I ever tell you about the story I had? I just tell you, I digress for a second, but it's kind of a funny, Navy story. So I represented this sailor who had given another sailor a blowjob on board a ship while he was sleeping. And
two guys? No.
The victim testified. He goes, He goes, yeah, I was laying in my rack and I started having, a sex dream about my wife, and I put my hand kind of down there and I felt like a beard. And I realized it wasn't my wife, it was Petty Officer so-and-so. And then the prosecutor said, well, what did you do next? He goes, well, I let him finish. And then I beat the shit out of him.
So it was 2 guys.
Yeah, 2 guys.
Holy shit, dude.
Oh, that goes on all the time. All the time.
Well, yeah, that's what they say about the Navy, right? You guys have a special bond between you,
Yeah, I guess.
you sailors.
I think I told you once, there's the case. It's called, the case is literally United States versus FAG, F-A-G.
Oh, yeah. You told me about that. That was hilarious, dude.
And
hilarious.
We were quoting it in court, and a judge said, counsel, I would have preferred if you would not use derogatory terms in my courtroom. And lawyer says, Your Honor, the case is actually United States versus FAG. And yes, it is a case on homosexual sex.
That is fucked up, dude.
Yeah, well, you're born with the last name of Fag. I think you're destined to be gay.
Well, it can't be it can't be real helpful. Hey, Mr. Producer, why don't you show us that Al Green clip so our Navy JAG friend here can go off the handle, please, about decorum.
Mr. Green, take your seat. Take your seat, sir. Take your seat. Finding that members continue to engage in willful and concerted disruption of proper decorum, the chair now directs the Sergeant-at-Arms to restore order. Remove this gentleman from the chamber.
Dude, David, show the slide that I just sent you on Twitter, on X. And then we'll let our friend Rod give us his opinion. You see what I just sent you?
Oh, you asking me?
No, I'm asking our producer here.
Oh.
There you go. So, found the heckler, by the way.
Glasses on.
You see that, dude? The freaking, Neanderthal. Anyways.
Dude, I did not know that he was a congressman. I thought it was Nancy Pelosi's pimp.
Right. Dude, that dude was heinous looking, right?
I mean, with that
Holy
cane, did he have a pair of platform shoes on it with goldfish in the heels?
Dude, I mean, that dude looked like a pimp, right?
You ever see that movie, I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what that guy looked like last night.
Dude, but was that a fucking awesome moment? Is Sergeant at Arms...
Either that or a Klingon from Star Trek.
Yes. But, good job for the speaker.
Yeah, Mike Johnson is a solid guy.
Yeah. I mean, he squashed that. He squashed that right away. He's like, Sergeant at Arms,
notice
get him out of here.
The other thing is, when somebody would shout either in the gallery or down on the floor, Trump, his voice would kind of get a little bit louder, and he would just drown them out.
Yeah. Well, there was also that part right before that we didn't show, but everybody started screaming, USA, USA, USA. And last night, watching, MSNBC, Michael Steele, the former Republican, so pissed off, so aggravated, and saying, they use that line like they own it, like, the rest of us are not, Americans or patriots. And I was like, dude, you're a fucking rhino piece of shit. You stopped being fucking Republican a long fucking time ago.
Michael and I were friends.
I know, so same here, dude.
I took him deep sea fishing once. I have a photograph somewhere of us deep sea fishing. And he caught a nice tuna, and I took it to the taxidermy guy and made him this trophy and brought it down there because he was such a strong conservative guy. Now, look,
yeah.
I remember we got into a question once. Michael Steele actually was in the seminary. He almost became a Roman Catholic priest. And I don't know how we got on this topic once, but we were talking about, the right to life.
Yeah.
And Michael told me that he was against the death penalty. And I was like, really? And he goes, yeah, Rod, when you are truly pro-life, I take it all the way to the end. I wonder if he still feels like that. Like he's not a Republican anymore.
No.
And I don't know what he is. I really don't know what he is. He's got a chip on his shoulder. You know, it's interesting. He's so dismissive of our side. Well, when he ran for lieutenant governor, he was down at Morgan State College, which is a historically black university here in Baltimore.
Yeah.
And he was debating, I don't remember who he was debating. Oh, it was it was Bobby Kennedy's sister.
Oh, wow.
Kathleen Kennedy Townsend.
Yeah.
And when Michael got up on stage, all her cronies, they threw Oreo cookies at him.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Nope. They threw Oreo cookies at him. They used to call him an Oreo cookie.
Dude,
They
that's
say he
racist
was
as
black
fuck.
on the outside and white on the inside.
That's fucking racist as shit, dude. And I can't believe
Well,
they
it
fucking
is,
did that,
but like,
you know?
what happened to Michael Steele? I don't know.
Dude, I remember years
He
ago
was
when
a hard conservative guy.
he was good, dude. I remember years ago, I can't remember, maybe 17, 18, somewhere around there. He opened up for a keynote that I did at, I think it was the American Legion or something up in Baltimore, 1,000. It was a big event. There was probably like 1,000 people
Wait,
there.
did we have Michael there?
Yeah, he opened up for me, and you know, and I keynoted it, and dude, he was still a Republican. You know, there were some whispers, you know, that were calling him Rhino and Rhino. You know, and he opened up, he gave a good speech, and he said, hey, you know, all this Rhino bullshit, I'm not going to tolerate it. I'm conservative. I've been a Republican my whole life, and went, you know, into this whole thing. It was after he had been RNC chair, right? But I think the Obama years really changed him, and you know, and
I'm confused. You know, interesting. You mentioned that time you were up here. That's the first night I met you.
yeah,
And I guess I had arranged for Michael to be here because I'm telling you, he and I were friends. I mean, I used to regularly talk to him and invite him to various Republican club, meetings for him to address the crowd. Yeah, we did have a nice crowd there that night.
yeah, that was a
The
big
American
crowd,
Legion.
man. That was probably like 1,000 people, dude. There was at least, dude, it was huge. And then afterwards, we went to that little bar right off to the side, right?
We did.
Which was
We
pretty
did.
cool. Yep. Shit, we had everybody there. We had Newt there because I had Newt there. We had a bunch of people go to that event. I remember it was a
Yeah,
big
it was
event.
it was a nice event.
Yeah.
That's when I was trying to consolidate all. We have about, I don't know, probably 6 different Republican clubs here in Baltimore County, and you know they're always it's like a competition, like, you know, meetings and whatnot. I was trying to consolidate them all into the Baltimore County Republican Club.
Yeah, just one, right?
Just one. Yeah. When I lived in Cecil County, I was the president of the Cecil County Republican Club, and it was called the Cecil County Republican Club.
Yeah, they should do it like they do here. They just call them executive committees and be done. You know, I don't know why they don't do that. They should just follow the Florida model. I did that when I first went up and joined the Maryland GOP member as the chairman of the Hispanic Leadership Council, and we got Hogan elected. Jesus, that was crazy.
So get this.
Yeah.
I was just talking to my friend Governor Ehrlich the other day because I said, you know, I think I'm going to run for governor here in the state of Maryland.
Yeah.
And he was like, no, it's a mistake. But he told me that Hogan's going to run again.
Yeah, he is, huh?
So I didn't realize this under Maryland law, and there's probably not a lot of people watching from Maryland, but
So you can repeat.
you can't be governor for more than 2 consecutive terms. So he can take this 4 years off
And come back.
then run again. You know, if I were to challenge him in a primary, I would beat him in the
I
primary,
think you would crush him, dude.
right?
You'd
But I
crush
would just like Dan Cox did
Yeah.
the last time.
Yep.
But probably lose in the general.
him. Yeah.
Especially when people started advertising against me, saying that I was, on the Trump team.
Yeah.
So here in Maryland, that's the kiss of death.
Yeah. Well, what's fucking Maryland, like 70-30, right? Democrats, so.
Oh yeah. There's always like a plus. It's a plus almost 40 number that you gotta pick up you got your, you've got 30% of the vote automatically, and then you got to pick up another, like 35% of it to win.
Dude, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So the State of the Union, man, what do you think? I mean, that was powerful. I thought it was fucking kick-ass. He broke Bill Clinton's record as the longest speech in history. He hit on so
a
many
dream.
points.
It was like, I was watching it with my wife, and I was like, this is a dream come true.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was texting with another group of hardcore Republicans last night. And, I said, you know what? Somewhere out there on the internet, there's a group of 10 or 15 guys who are texting each other with, just crying the entire time.
Yeah.
Because the speech was so good. He put the Democrats in such a box.
Yeah.
Right? In such a box. And they didn't stand up and clap. I know everybody's saying this, but seriously, they didn't stand up and clap for that little boy who
had brain cancer.
was a cancer survivor.
Yep.
They didn't clap for that.
Dude, that was a beautiful
just
moment.
All on record last week for voting against the bill, to keep men out of women's sports. I mean, he has put them in such a little box that they can't get out of. And they stood there all stern-faced, as he really just clarified to the American people this new Republican Party that he's the leader of. We're championing these issues, and the Democrats are just against common sense issues.
Yeah. What do you got next? What's the next video, Mr. Producer?
Let's see. 76% of Americans approved of Trump's speech.
Let's go. Look at that.
Yeah.
76% approved of the speech.
Oh, is that the CNN and the NBC polls?
Yep.
Yeah. Amazing.
How did you feel about his message regarding the economy?
I thought it was very positive. I think what's happening now, we used to be a country that would just let everything happen. Okay, we'll do this. You guys, Panama can have this. I think now we're taking back things that should have never been given away. So I think doing those tariffs and everything, I think it's well overdone. I mean, it should have been done a long time ago.
How did?
Yep.
Who was that commentator? Who was that woman they were interviewing?
I don't know. It was just a Pennsylvania voter. It was a Pennsylvania voter.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of, not the greatest.
But he did a great job. I mean, really pointing out stuff, and like you said, they didn't clap, they didn't support, which was really mind-boggling when he said no taxes on tips, wage, overtime, Social Security. When Kamala stole that from Trump, they were all for it. They were pushing it. They were supporting it like Trump never said it. And now that he brings it up, they didn't even move. It's what a pathetic bunch. Do you have that clip?
No.
Okay.
Yeah, that was a good piece there.
Yeah, that was a great piece. It's what other clips do you got?
I got the gold card.
Go for it. Which one is it?
The gold card.
All right, go. The gold card.
With that goal in mind, we have developed in great detail what we are calling the gold card, which goes on sale very, very soon. For $5 million, we will allow the most successful job-creating people from all over the world to buy a path to U.S. citizenship. It's like the green card, but better and more sophisticated. And these people will have to pay tax in our country. They won't have to pay tax from where they came. The money that they've made, you wouldn't want to do that, but they have to pay tax, create jobs. They'll also be taking people out of colleges and paying for them so that we can keep them.
That's good. Yeah, I mean, I think that's huge, Rod. I mean, it goes from,
my
taking...
only criticism of that is that $5 million is not enough money.
Yeah.
What he should do is, again, revamp the EB-5 program.
Yeah.
There's two levels, EB-5 investor. And I think when Biden became president, he reduced them back to where they were before. When Trump was in, I want to say it was $750,000 for the lower level and $1 million for the upper level.
Yeah.
And when Trump was in, it was like $1 million for the lower level and 1.5 for the upper level. Don't quote me on those numbers, but what he ought to do is, and the upper and lower numbers, by the way, were whether or not you were in a rural or an urban area. Okay, so if you were in an urban area, it was the higher dollar amount. And it was the EB-5 program is a great program. It's been in existence for a long time. It's for high net worth investors to come into the United States. They have to deposit that whatever that's funds in, and then they have to create jobs.
Yeah.
They actually have to create jobs, and it's a really interesting calculation that they use to figure it out. It goes so far as down to like, let's suppose the EB-5 investors coming in, you pool them together, you pool, 20, 40, 50 EB-5 investors together, and you build like a Red Roof Inn, type of motel or hotel. And when they look at the job creation, they even take it down as far as, the guy who's going to be filling the soda machines in the hotel. You get like
the whole productive chain. Yeah, the whole
for
production chain,
1/5 of a full-time job there. So it's a. But what I'm saying is, maybe what we ought to do is use that $5 million mark as the high level on the EB-5. And if you want to do this gold card, I mean, look, there are Chinese, capitalist people who are in China who are capitalists. They want to get the hell out.
Yeah.
They're afraid that China is going to move on Taiwan.
Right.
And if that happens, the United States, they're going to do the same thing that we did with Russia when they moved on Ukraine, is we froze a lot of assets.
Yeah.
There's a lot of people in China who want to come to the United States, and $5 million to them, that's like $500 to you or I. Like,
Yeah, I mean, we'd have to look at the details, but I can imagine if you're paying, he's not saying you got to invest $5 million. You got to pay the U.S. government $5 million. So that goes straight into the Treasury, and I'm pretty sure there's going to be conditions that they got to invest.
God, no.
10, 15, 20, $25 million or something. So it'll be different. Let's see what the details are, but I think it's a good start.
It is. I mean, it's a great name for it too, the gold card.
Yeah, because look, you go away from this. Let's take every freaking asylum seeker, which they're not really asylum seekers. They're, economic refugees, and coming here to this country, and I've said it a bunch of times, not to be disparaging to anybody because, it's a sad reality. There are a lot of poor people around the world, including here, that, are just seeking ways to improve their family and their life. And they're desperate, right? So they're taking that, 1,000-kilometer trek with all the dangers involved to try and get here, to try and, do something, improve their family. But that's, America can't take everybody. We can't take the world's problems. And, in absorbing people that can barely, they can barely speak their own language, they probably can't read or write their own language, is a hell of a fucking absorption. Taking that kind of illiteracy and that kind of, that many people that don't have, a higher education or something, is hard. So taking people that can
Trump said
contribute.
last night the number's 21 million.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
is that gosh, 21 million. Good Lord.
Yeah, dude, and it's all people like that. I mean, what you want is exactly what Trump is saying, is we want people that are highly educated, that have network.
Absolutely.
They're going to come here, create jobs, and make a direct impact on the economy. This whole racist bullshit that the left throws is who's going to fucking clean our houses and who's going to clean our bathrooms. Is the biggest bunch of bullshit. Because a lot of the illegals are not doing that. They're doing anything but that. Sure, there's a segment that'll probably be working in housekeeping and house cleanings and in agro, but the vast majority are in construction. They're doing working in restaurants. They're taking jobs, dude, that would normally be for kids. I remember before we moved from Florida up to DC back in 2014. David was a senior in high school, and I remember him trying to find a job in high school. Like me and you, when we went to high school, you would get a job. I worked at a gas station. People worked at pizza places. Whatever. What kids did in high school jobs, work at the mall, get a job at the mall. Here in Miami, they couldn't get jobs because all those jobs were filled by grown-ass fucking men and women, in their 30s and 40s. They were either here illegally or somehow got papers or fake papers or something, but they're holding all these entry-level jobs, dude. And, it's fucked up, dude.
We heard a list of, abuses that USAID had paid out. And, I think I told you that I did some pro bono legal work for it turns out to be it's an NGO that was funded by USAID, so I could learn, the immigration law, how it works here in the United States. These NGOs, you talk about these people are claiming asylum. It's because the lawyers over on the Mexican side, right, that the NGOs send down there are telling people, what it is that you need to say when you're apprehended at the border.
Right.
They're giving them the language.
Yeah, they're prepping them.
But we all know the reality is the reason they're coming up here is they want to get out of that country and come to America for a better life, which is great, but you got to do it legally, and lying at the port of entry that you're seeking, asylum is it's fraud. It's fraud. And, we, the American taxpayers, have been raped of our, by our own government by taking our tax money and, paying these fraudulent NGOs. Now, look, I did the legal work for free, pro bono, right?
Yeah.
You know damn well that money, let's say that this one NGO that I worked for
pull up that email.
Received $50 million for this project.
Yeah.
There's somebody in that NGO who's making, a very significant salary.
Well, there's laws and rules around nonprofits, right? But we know from the Honorable Reverend Jesse Jackson with Rainbow Push that there are ways around it, right? He was maxed out on the base salary, but he was
Well, that's
running,
what it is. They max them out and they bring all their friends in.
Well, he was running $5 million in expenses a month, dude.
Yeah. Yeah, well, look, foundations are these foundations, so to speak, are an easy way, for fraud because you go out and you solicit people for donations for your quote unquote foundation, right? And then you go and you hire your derelict brother, your mother who can't get a job anywhere, and they pay them significant salaries in these foundations.
Yeah.
That's why they're called nonprofits. The reason they're called nonprofits because they're top heavy on the executive side.
Right.
Yeah. But the NGOs are even worse because they're taking taxpayer money. They're getting grants from the federal government to go down to the border and essentially teach immigrants. This is just one level of it.
Look at this. Look at this communication from the White House. It says yes.
I can't see it because I'm on my phone.
Yes, I'm going to read it. It says yes. Biden spent millions on transgender animal experiments. Last night, the president talked about that, and he goes, the fake news.
My eighth grader, we were driving to school this morning, and he heard that clip. Yeah. He goes, "What?" My eighth grader's like, "That's not true, is it?" And I'm like,
Dude, look at this. He goes, fake news losers at CNN immediately try to fact check the president, but President Trump was right as usual. Fact. Here we go. Right, and he goes, 455,000, a mouse model to test the effects of gender-affirming hormone therapy on HIV vaccine-induced immune responses. 2.5 million reproductive consequences of steroid hormonal administration in mice. 299,000 gender affirmation testosterone therapy on breast cancer risk and treatment outcomes, also on mice. And then he goes into Andrew and her facts and keep on scrolling down. I mean, it's freaking crazy.
Well, it's also animal abuse, isn't it? Where's PETA?
Right.
I mean, you're taking a straight mouse and making him into a tranny. I mean, that's not right for the mouse.
Well, you're making a mouse trans, dude, and you're dumping fucking all this money. I mean, dude, it's fucked up, dude. These people.
Well, it's animal abuse. That's what that is.
Yeah,
I mean,
but they're
look,
fucking crazy,
I'm a member
dude.
of PETA, people
Yeah,
eating
but
tasty animals, but you know,
dude,
if PETA's gonna
they're
stay true to
crazy.
their mission, they should be objecting to that type of testing and
Yeah, but they're
whatever the
crazy,
hell
dude.
else.
They're so enamored with this transgender crap that they're pushing it on fucking animals. I mean, it's fucked up, dude.
Yep, it is. It is. But of course, that leftist group PETA, they're not going to come. They're not going to say anything. They're just shaking their head. Okay, whatever you say.
It's fucked up, dude. Like with the
whole
Beagles.
world
Remember
is.
with the Beagles and Fauci? PETA didn't say shit, right?
There's a great example. Absolutely, absolutely. If it was one of us doing experiments on dogs like that, oh my gosh,
dude.
there'd be people outside my building with signs.
Dude, signs, dude, they'd be fucking shooting you, dude. Are you
Yeah.
kidding? Are you kidding me, dude? What else do you got, Mr. Producer?
God, come on, guys.
It doesn't affect the screen for us.
Oh, okay. The text messages are coming through, and they're just sticking on my phone. They're not going away.
Yeah, but they don't affect our screen. So
Yeah, okay, but I can't see. That's the problem. They're dropping right down on top
Oh, gotcha. All right, what do you got? Push it up.
All right.
Many more have been found out and exposed and swiftly terminated by a group of very intelligent, mostly young people, headed up by Elon, and we appreciate it. We found hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud.
Come on, guys.
So Doge, he talks about Doge, and
let me stop you there for a second. Interesting. Okay. Elon was wearing a blue tie.
Yeah.
Okay, look, these guys, they don't put a blue tie on except for a reason. Okay?
Yeah.
Or a red tie. But you know what was interesting, and my wife pointed this out, is Trump's tie last night. He wore that's the exact same tie he wore at his inauguration. It's purple. Okay? There's a message there. All right? That he wants unity between the parties. There's no doubt about it. That's there's a reason. Look, when I get dressed, I dress purposely, right?
Yeah.
And certainly when I'm wearing a tie, and if I'm addressing, like when we were at Towson at the American Legion, right? I'm not gonna. I don't know. It was odd that Elon had that blue. I thought it was odd that he had that blue tie on. I thought it was a gesture towards the left. And certainly Trump wearing a purple tie, not only at the inauguration but last night, was some type of a gesture. Yeah. Just like those people who were wearing, the blue and the yellow. And there was a guy, by the way, there was a man who was very pro-Trump last night who had a blue suit on with a yellow tie. Did you see him? Because he clearly was a pro-Ukrainian individual.
Probably.
I mean, that's purposefully dressed.
Yeah.
But he was standing at and clapping, and I saw him glad handing on the way in. I didn't recognize who it was, but the TV cameras went to him at least 3 or 4 times.
Well, and you had the pussy hat crowd. They just weren't wearing the pussy hats, but they're all dressed in pink.
Well, stupid.
The Democrat Party has turned into the fringe, right? They're all part of the squad now. They're all the squad, right? That's what the Democrat Party is. It's a squad. I don't think there is a center there anymore.
No, I mean, look, you got AOC who wasn't there last night. You do have that senator from Michigan. Isn't she from Michigan?
Yeah.
The Muslim woman.
Yeah, they gave the response. Yeah.
Yeah. And then, you had Bernie looking like, the goof that he is. That's the thing. Like, you've got some really far out people on the left.
Yeah.
I mean, I guess Marjorie is probably the most far out person on the right.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Taylor
But
Greene. Yeah.
the number of people on the left who are just on the fringe of being certifiably insane.
Yeah.
You got Blumenthal, I mean, it just boggles my mind. Like, here's Blumenthal, right? Guy completely lied about his military service, said he was in Vietnam in combat.
Yeah.
It never happened. And he continues to be elected. I just don't get it. And then you got, what's her name from, who Trump called out, by the way, called her Pocahontas.
Oh, he called her Pocahontas, dude. That was awesome. He goes, oh, of course Pocahontas agrees.
That was great. Dude,
that was beautiful, man. He's a master, dude. He is just a freaking master.
You know what my favorite line of the night was, though? It was actually a very touching thing. And he was talking about, it was during the portion of the speech when he was talking about transgenders and children. And he said to the children, I'm paraphrasing, he says, "We love you just the way God made you."
Yep.
I mean, what an incredible statement. Look, you and I don't give a shit if you're an adult and you want to cut your, have your top done and not your bottom, or your bottom done. Who cares? You're an adult. But doing it to children is just,
dude, it's crime.
Wrong, and it should be illegal.
Yeah. Well, he passed that act, right? He signed an executive order making it illegal to mutilate children. So,
Yep.
I'm pretty
my
sure.
Screen's frozen. Okay, there we are.
I'm pretty sure the left is going to challenge that in court just because they're fucking psychopaths. But he talked about that, and he talked about the girl that was there, and and out in the crowd that got smashed with a volleyball in the head.
Yeah, brain injury.
Yeah, dude. I mean, I saw the video, dude. It was fucking brutal. I mean, dude, this guy.
Oh, I haven't seen the video.
Dude, the guy was significantly bigger than all the girls, and he just jumped and smashed his ball, and the ball hit her right in the freaking forehead and knocked her back to the ground, and she was out.
Yeah, I've sat courtside at some high school, not college, not NCAA volleyball games for both boys and girls. And when they spike that ball, man, I mean, that's a heavy duty hit.
It's coming full force. Do you? What else do you got? You got Bobby Kennedy over there. You got Pam. Cue something up for us, because I want to talk about Pam.
My administration has acted swiftly and decisively to restore fair, equal, and impartial justice under the constitutional rule of law, starting at the FBI and the DOJ. Pam, good luck. Cash, wherever you may be, good luck. Good luck. Pam Bondi. Good luck. So important. Going to do a great job. Cash, thank you. Thank you, Cash.
Well, I'm surprised nobody said that was a Heil Hitler, salute when he went like that.
Oh, I know. As soon as he did that, I said, "Oh my God, they're going to start with that."
I know. I was like, "Oh fuck, here we go again."
It's such nonsense. Yeah. I mean, seriously.
So Pam's got her hands full, dude. That whole fucking FBI and Cash. What a tee up to lawfare and to have a lawyer here, because I wanted to deep dive into that, and the FBI withholding information on the Epstein files. Obviously, he was forced out, or they fucking threw him out.
Southern District in New York.
Yeah, SDNY, yeah. Dude, Elon said it very well on Joe Rogan's podcast last week. He goes, she's going into this company or organization where everybody is against her. That's going to be tough to clean up, Rod.
It is. Those people in the DOJ, they are supposed to be nonpartisan.
But it hasn't been, right?
Well, dude, look, when I went into the Navy, we were told we had to be nonpartisan, and I get in there and I'm like, okay, this is insane. I couldn't believe how bad it was. And, I'm sure it's the same, unfortunately, with a lot, not all of, the attorneys in the DOJ. There's just too many partisan people. That is not your job. If you want to take that job, you've got to be nonpartisan.
But how does she clean that up, dude? I mean, can she just actively fire everybody?
I don't know. I've asked her to hire me and let me root them out. Okay?
Yeah, I hear you.
I mean, seriously.
I hear you.
They've got to be, those folks have to be exposed and let go. And just let go. I mean, I don't know how you're going to find them. I mean, you're going to have to go through their emails. I mean, you saw all this stupid shit some of those FBI and FBI agents wrote during the Trump investigation on the first time.
Yep.
The stupid shit they put in emails.
Yeah, on the Russian hoax. Yep.
Yeah, you know, when you log into a government computer every morning, you have to basically click this button that says you acknowledge that you do not have an expectation of privacy, that everything that's communicated through this system belongs to the United States government. And you acknowledge that you have no expectation of privacy, which means that the government can look at your email at any time. Now, look, the email between you and I, if the government wants to look at it, they've got to get a warrant to look at it.
Well, in this case, it would be covered under attorney-client privilege, so fuck them and fuck everybody else. You know, remind me to send you $1 via Zelle. You know, it's very different, right? But how do you sniff through all that? You would need AI. You would need something to try and find all that crap. And
you know, I'm not a techie guy, but I'm sure there are programs out there that can sniff out political posts. Like, I'll tell you, for example, you know, now it's not so bad anymore, but it used to be if you put something up on Facebook and it had the wrong term, like,
Yep.
Dude, I'm a duck hunter, okay? And there's a duck out there called a blackhead,
yeah,
okay? And I was discussing a blackhead with another duck hunter, and I got my Facebook shut down for 30 days saying I was using racially charged words.
yeah.
So, of course, there's a way that, you know, the FBI emails can be searched in words. You know, you put words in there.
Yeah, I lost my Facebook, dude, for 2.5 years. I had to create a new one. I had, you know, obviously I had, you know, 5,000 friends, plus I had over 150,000 followers. And when I came back 2.5 years later, you know, everybody was like, "Holy shit!" You know, the ones that stuck around and didn't delete this, you know, dead account. Not now. I'm back to whatever 5,000 plus, but you know,
but they did it on
purpose.
There's certainly software out there, and again, those federal employees do not have an expectation of privacy when they log on to a government computer. Different situation because they are citizens, they're private citizens. If they're using their own device, that's a different situation. But you know, a government cell phone, they all have government cell phones. All those text messages, all those emails, all the websites that they peruse are subject to being searched at any time.
Yeah, but I think she's got her hands full.
Yeah, she's got her hands full. You know, I'm here in Maryland. The last time we talked, you know, I said I told you, I said I guarantee that the U.S. Attorney for the District of Maryland will be replaced. Well, he resigned, okay, because he saw the writing on the wall. And Trump just appointed an interim U.S. Attorney yesterday. She was in the United States Attorney's office down in what we call the southern part of Maryland, around the Capitol, around D.C. I was kind of shocked. That he took somebody from the inside. Now, granted, she's only in an interim. I don't know anything about her. I don't know where she stands, limited research on her. I just quickly Googled her name yesterday, and I saw that she had been an assistant at AUSA for, I think since 2012, down in the D.C. area. And he just tapped her as the interim U.S. Attorney for the District of Maryland. In my opinion, I think they need to bring outside people in and deal with the U.S. Attorney's offices from there. You know, I don't know. There's probably 100 AUSAs in Maryland.
Yeah.
It wouldn't take me long to figure out where they are. You know, and
And
are
wash
they
them out.
political or are they apolitical?
Yeah.
And if they're political, they got to go.
Yeah.
Right or left.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's the idea, right? If they're going to be nonpartisan, then they can't be, they can't be in there, right? So.
Yeah, but then, look, then we're talking about an oxymoron type of, argument here, because here I am, I'm a political guy, and, am I going to go in there and I'm going to be a political guy as the U.S. Attorney for the District of Maryland? You can't do it. You can't be that person. You've got to put it aside. Like when you become a judge, justice is blind. Go to the Supreme Court, right up on top of the building, that beautiful, Roman Greco carving.
Yeah,
It's got Lady Justice up there, and she's holding the scales of justice, and she's got a blindfold around her eyes.
Yeah.
That's the way. That's the perfect world. But we are humans, and we do bring our biases with us. But you have to be able to put them aside when you step into one of these positions.
Yep. Do you have Bobby Kennedy there? All right, let's see him up, dude. That was a special moment, and I want to talk to you about that for a second.
Since 1975, rates of child cancer have increased by more than 40%. Reversing this trend is one of the top priorities for our new presidential commission to make America healthy again, chaired by our new Secretary of Health and Human Services, Robert F. Kennedy, Jr.
You could tell, dude, that was an emotional moment for him. The son of RFK, the nephew of President John F. Kennedy, and nobody on the Democrat side fucking clapped. The way they treated him, banned him, blocked him from primarying fucking Joe Biden was disgusting. You missed the part that I wanted to really catch, which when he talked about the toxins in food and all this shit, and he said, not too long ago, the rate of autism was 1 in 10,000 children, and today it's 1 in 36.
Terrible.
Dude, that's fucked up as shit. There is something going on that is very fucking evil. And I know a lot of people fucking want to blame vaccines. I'm going to have a doctor on hopefully next week that is, that talks about the risks of vaccines, etc. But, if it's vaccines or something else, we don't know, but we need to find out, right? We need to find out what it is. I mean, from 10,000 to 1 to 36 to 1. It's like, holy shit, dude.
Well, it's the poison in the foods. I mean, that's really probably one of the main pieces is the food that we eat here is just not healthy. I mean,
yeah, it's garbage.
Look, I love Coca-Cola and I love Utz potato chips.
Yeah.
Right? But they're just not good for you.
Right.
They're just not good for you.
Yeah, that's why you got to cut the carbs, the sugars, and just fucking go with protein and, and go hit the gym. Fuck it. I mean, remember John F. Kennedy had the whole fucking physical fitness thing in schools. Remember growing up in the 70s, we had that. You had to run, you had to do push-ups, pull-ups. And then I don't know who went away with that.
The Kennedy family is an interesting family. Had the Democrats had an open primary, I think that Bobby probably could have beat Biden in a primary.
Yeah.
And then it would have been a Kennedy versus Trump in the general election. Yeah. I still think Trump would have won. But, look, they did that to him. They did that to him.
Yeah.
They sealed him out of the Democrat Party. And when God closes one door, he opens another. And, Bobby Kennedy's a great example of that.
Yeah, and you know what? He said something in a speech. I don't know if you heard this, but he said, I get on my knees and pray every day. And, I prayed to God to help me find the cure to help, children. And that's why I ran for president. And, when that door closed, all of a sudden, God answered my prayers and gave me Trump. And
that was a very moving statement.
Dude, that was like, holy shit, dude.
Yeah.
That was a holy shit moment.
The reality is, right now, the Lord is on our side.
Yeah.
Okay? look, we're trying to save babies' lives. We're trying to make life better. And what do the Democrats have? They have nothing. They want to lock up, people praying in front of an abortion clinic for just sitting there or just on their knees kneeling. Trump. I don't know how many. I don't know how many of those folks he just pardoned, but there was a good handful of people who did nothing more than get on their knees in front of an abortion clinic and pray, and they were arrested in violation of the Access to Abortion Act or whatever the hell it's called. I've always been a firm believer that the Republicans hold the moral high ground when it comes to, the Lord and His work here on earth. And yes, there are certainly Democrats who are religious, but some of their religious views are really, they're skewed. I mean, I honestly don't know how Joe Biden was not excommunicated from the Catholic Church. He actually was excommunicated about 15 or 20 years ago up in Scranton, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
The bishop in Scranton, you can't find this order anymore. They made it go away when he became vice president. You used to be able to find this order on the internet with a Google search. I have searched for it. I saw it with my own eyes. He was excommunicated from the Catholic Church in the Scranton Roman Catholic diocese.
Yeah.
But to my point, I don't understand how practicing Catholics, and by the way, today is Ash Wednesday, and yes, I did go to Mass. I did receive my ashes this morning, how you can be a member of the modern Democrat Party with some of its platforms, number one, abortion, number two, transgenderism, because that is clearly against the Catholic doctrine, 3, homosexuality, I just don't know how practicing Catholics can also be Democrats and square it up in their heads. Someone needs to explain that to me. I don't understand. And maybe they'll say, "Well, I don't understand how you as a Republican can be a member of a member of the Catholic Church." Well, I just spelled out 4 reasons right there.
Yeah.
Okay. 4 reasons. Look. Again, I don't give a damn if somebody's a homosexual. I don't. I don't believe that they should call the civil union between 2 men a marriage.
Yep.
Okay? I don't believe it should be a religious ceremony. Go down to the courthouse and have your ceremony it's civil ceremony and call yourself whatever it is and be able to legally pass transferred property just like a husband and wife, but it's not marriage. And don't
I've
do
always
it in the
said
church.
that. I've always said the same thing, Rod, is, call it whatever you want, a civil union. Just don't call it marriage. Marriage is the highest sacrament in the Catholic Church.
Next to holy orders.
It's at the same level as priesthood. It is the exact same level of priesthood.
Well, it's a vocation. That's absolutely right.
And that's what people don't understand. It's
being
the highest sacrament.
Being a husband is a vocation.
Yeah. It's the highest sacrament. It's crazy. I know you got to run, bro. I appreciate you being on here. We got to get you back. We still haven't hit the entertaining part of the decoys, the ducks, the history, Civil War. You have so much stuff about the Civil War that I'd love to cover with you. Just one day, let's talk about the Civil War. And because there's I think there's a lot of fallacies out there, right?
Well, there are. I mean, it's interesting, it's so hard to explain just real quickly, the parties, it was the Democrat Party who were the slave owners, okay? The Democrats were the founders of the Ku Klux Klan. It was in my lifetime, I'm a member of the West Virginia Bar, okay? And what courthouse was I sworn into? The Robert C. Byrd Federal Courthouse in Charleston, West Virginia. And I'm sitting there as I'm walking in that building, and I'm thinking, this motherfucker was the Grand Wizard of the Ku Klux Klan, and here is a federal courthouse named after him, and they're concerned about Arlington National Cemetery, where the reconciliation monument between the North and the South was to be removed. I think it's on hold now that Trump is in office. But, they're worried about bases being called Fort Benning. Yeah. And you've got the Robert C. Byrd Federal Courthouse. Yeah. The guy wore a fucking hood and burned crosses.
Yeah. He was a Grand Wizard, dude. He was a fucking Grand Wizard. That's the shit that is insane, dude. And let's do that, dude. Let's pick a date. Let's go through this historic stuff of the Civil War. You're so prepared. You know so much about it, and I think it's fair for everybody to really hear it unfiltered, and
sure,
and make this happen. Rod, it's always a pleasure to see you, man.
Peace out, brother.
Yeah, man, I'm going to be up there in a couple of weeks, so, you got to get your ass down to D.C., and we got to have some cocktails. Okay. I got to wait a couple of weeks for it to warm up, of course.
Yeah, it's cold up here right now. It's cold and rainy today, too. It sucks.
Jeez.
All right.
Anyways, all right, pal. I appreciate you.
See you guys.
All right, take care. All right, guys, we're going to be right back with our next guest. All right, we're back, and we're back with our next guest, Jorge Arrizurieta, a fixture in Florida politics. Also did a couple tours in D.C., knows his way around better than many locals. Jorge, thanks for joining us again.
Thanks for having me again. Appreciate the opportunity. What a night, huh?
Yeah, man, dude, was that awesome or what? I guess we haven't really talked, so I don't know. Did you think it was awesome, or did you not like it?
I wish that Democrats were smarter than they continue to behave. But obviously I can't control Democrats. And their denial continues. They're still trying to figure out what is going on, I guess. But their behavior is just outrageous. I can't imagine that helped them much for the American people, but they keep doing it. So I guess they're not asking me for advice, but I don't think that's going to help them go anywhere. It's more of the same that got them to the place where they are right now. So I can't imagine that when you don't have the decency to honor some folks who don't have to be a part of any of this partisanship. Not to mention, kids and sick folks and other families who've been victims of regretful activity, and they don't even bother to applaud, stand up, provide any courtesy. I think they're in trouble. But hey. That's their problem, I guess. That's not our issue.
Coming back. Look, Sky wants to say hello. Hello, Sky.
Hey, what's going on, Sky?
Look, there's
likes
Jorge.
The camera, huh?
Oh, he wants to talk. She wants to talk into the mic. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, I don't know, bro. I mean, you had Stephen A. Smith, right, on The View. And, he crushed, what's his name, Joey Behar and Whoopi. Because they're like, oh, no, he didn't really, it wasn't a mandate. He barely won by like 1% or some shit like that. And didn't get over 50%. And you said, what are you talking about? When you look at it, the amount of people in New York or California or whatever, there you go. But he's the first president to win the popular vote on the Republican side in 20 years, since Bush did it in 2004. He won all those swing states, won the majority of all the states. Every single congressional district moved an average of 84% to the right. How is that not a mandate, and how did he not kick the crap out of the Democrats? And you know what? They couldn't say anything. They just stayed silent. And that, in a nutshell, is what it is,
The amount of times I've had conversations with people about, okay, I don't know how much you want to analyze this, but let's just do some real simple math. Yeah. The states that were swing states where states had an enormous amount of Republicans, independents, and Democrats that had to vote for one or the other, and they chose Trump to allow him the popular victory that he got. How do you deny that? It is a fact. How do you deny the kind of support he got in New York City?
Yeah.
A city, not to mention a state that he at one point in his life loved for many years and he's grown to dislike because of the way they've treated him. But you know what? I don't know that he dislikes it that much because he's got a lot of support there. And it's all about people who really just are fed up with the nonsense. And again, it was independents, it was Democrats, it was Republicans. It was a little bit of it all. And that's what gave him these, these victories in these swing states. And, it's his continued, common senseful way of governing that is going to continue to give him popularity. And don't know what these folks are doing to try to, counter that or beat that. Because right now all they're doing is beating themselves into the ground.
Right? I mean, it's crazy, dude. It's crazy. Every issue that he pushed last night, the majority of the country supports 80% versus 20%. And the entire half of Congress, all the Democrat side, did not clap, did not stand, did not do anything in support of these 80%, policies, which is insane. I don't know if he disappeared. Did we get disconnected? I guess we'll find out. He's back. It is a number. It's people that live with different facts than the rest of the country. I guess I'm not sure how else to say it. So their politics rely on facts, not that the rest of the American people live with. It's their own set of facts, and even when they get their behinds handed to them, they continue to deny and continue to do the same thing they've always done. I don't really know how long it's going to be before they outgrow that, but unless they do, they're going to be in trouble for a long, long time. Yeah, I mean they've maintained themselves as this radical. Our previous guest said it very, very effectively. He said they're borderline. Clinically insane. Borderline clinically insane. Mr. Producer, why don't you roll that video? I want Jorge to give us his opinion on this. A very despicable moment last night that our good friend is going to give us his opinion on. I trust his wisdom on this. He's always been somebody that is not a radicalized person on one side or the other, is a very common sense person, a human being. And this is a human moment, and I want, Jorge, your opinion on this. Please roll the tape.
Which one?
The JD Daniels.
All right, let me pull it up.
Where Trump talks.
Yeah, I'm just trying to pull up the one. I'm just trying to pull up specifically where, they show the Democrats on there, not the
No, just fine. Just put him where he's talking about the kid.
Okay.
You had it queued up.
Yeah, I know. I had it queued up. Hold on. I should take it a bit.
Back it up a little. Back it up.
Hey, Daniel, he is 13 years old, truly. Joining us in the gallery tonight is a young man who truly loves our police. His name is DJ Daniel. He is 13 years old, and he has always dreamed of becoming a police officer. But in 2018, DJ was diagnosed with brain cancer. The doctors gave him 5 months at most to live. That was more than 6 years ago. Since that time, DJ and his dad have been on a quest to make his dream come true, and DJ has been sworn in as an honorary law enforcement officer actually a number of times. The police love him, the police departments love him. And tonight, DJ, we're going to do you the biggest honor of them all. I am asking our new Secret Service Director, Sean Curran, to officially make you an agent of the United States Secret Service.
That is awesome. Listen to the crowd cheering. Those are all the Republicans. Look at that. That was awesome. Thank you, Dave. What a beautiful moment. And you know, the cameras cut over to, you know, I'm not going to say our friend, Debbie Wasserman Schultz. And she looked like somebody put a piece of dog shit underneath her nose. What a piece of shit. What a piece of shit that fucking woman is. I hate to say it in that grotesque way. But man, what a piece of shit, dude. I know you're a lot more eloquent than I am, so I'm going to hand it off to you so I don't get myself in more trouble.
You know, how can you not be moved by that story? I mean, you got to be subhuman. You cannot be human. You cannot have any human emotion, because that could be your child, for heaven's sake. It could be anybody. It could be any of our kids. I get emotional talking about it. But
yeah, dude, I was tearing last night when I saw that, bro, and I was like, oh my god, that could have been my son. I mean, you know, dude, it was fucking brutal, dude. And you know, but I loved, you heard the cheers and the yells from our side, dude. They were cheering this kid on. It was amazing. But this, you know, when the camera broke to Debbie and the others, I was like, wow, bro, I just can't imagine.
And that they could be such human trash to not honor the kid, such human trash to not recognize something that ought not be partisan. Because the fact the kid's alive is a miracle of God. So let's just start by that.
Yeah.
You know, and you know, yeah, I get it. Anything that makes Donald Trump look good, you want to make him look bad. I got it. That's not hard to figure out. You've been trying to do that for God knows how many years. It hasn't worked to your benefit. You might as well pick and choose the battles that might actually, if nothing else, for selfish reasons, pick and choose the battles that might help you to, you know, look somewhat human, look someone like a caring heart. Matter of fact, you're supposed to be a liberal. You're supposed to be a liberal bleeding heart. What happened to your bleeding heart?
Yeah.
You know, what happened to your liberalness? Because that's proof that they're not anything other than whatever is conveniently to their benefit in their opinion, not because they happen to have any ideology and any core belief in anything. Because how you can let your partisanship win, you know, over any emotion that they must have felt. It's just beyond me. And you're right. You know, that was obviously Fox News that panned over to the Congresswoman, because, you know, regular market TV was not going to do that. I don't know what they were, you know, what they panned to, but I wasn't watching it then. I was watching it on Fox myself, so I saw that clip. But it's just an outrage.
Hold on. He broke out. Hold on. Is he back? Let's see if he. That's too bad. He was on a roll too. Let's see if he reconnects. But dude, that was that was horrible. And I agree with what Jorge was saying. Is he's back. So you're on a roll. Sorry, you got disconnected. You were saying that you also watched it on Fox and you saw that. You know, go ahead, please.
Yeah. I saw that on Fox, which obviously would pan to the Congresswoman Wasserman Schultz. I don't know what regular market media was was covering. I'm sure they weren't going to show the Democrats looking as bad as they did. So God knows what they showed, but I saw it live, and I could not believe that they would actually behave so despicably. It's just really an outrage. But not surprising.
I'm going to ask you in a second what Marty thought, but I'll tell you what Martha thought when she saw that. She was just like, wow. She's like, I can't believe how disgusting these people are. They're just heartless bastards. And I said, that's what I've been telling you for decades. They're absolute fucking trash. They're the fucking waste of society. This just fucking proved it on primetime TV. She's a mother, and she said the same thing. She's like, oh my God, imagine if that was like David or Jesse or something like that. I would hate those fucking people. I would hate those fucking people. And I said, yeah.
Yeah. Again, I don't know what they're planning to do. I don't think they know what they're planning to do. But the hatred in their heart and minds are so significant. It is a deranged syndrome that they suffer from. It is so real that I don't think we should expect anything else from them for the next 4 years than what you saw there last night. I really don't think there's anything else to expect from them, which tells me that they're not going to be able to clean up their message or even try to find a message, because I have no idea that they know what they stand for or what they're all about. So seems to me like that's their problem, not our problem.
Yeah, I mean, look, it's you just nailed it on the head. You said it's a mental illness. It's derangement syndrome, right? And I don't think they're going to, like you said, to find any message or try and refocus or try and regroup. Anything. I think their hate towards Trump is a derangement, it's lunacy, it's mental illness that they're just going to continue to smash against that wall, regardless of anything. They just don't care, which is good for us. I mean, look, we have an election this year, and we're probably going to flip New Jersey in that governor's race. What clearer message could we send to the left if we won New Jersey? I don't even know when the last time we won New Jersey was. Probably 41. I don't think 43 won New Jersey, but I think it was 41. And Reagan, of course, right? But just craziness.
The infighting going on amongst them is very interesting to watch. And maybe the best example of that is what's happening in New York City with the mayor's race, right?
Yeah.
I don't know where it ends up, but to think that their solution to that political situation is to bring the former governor from retirement, who was placed in retirement for all the reasons we know, with regards to harassment and all sorts of other issues on how he handled COVID and harassment, sexual harassment, as we know, and that's who they've got.
Governor Cuomo, right? You're talking about Governor Cuomo. Yep.
Yeah, former Governor Cuomo.
Yeah.
Is very interesting, but I can't imagine there's going to be unanimity within New York Democrats to support him, and it all starts really because they don't like the fact that the sitting mayor, reconsidered a bad policy and realized that it made no sense for New York City to continue to be a city that would what's the term of art in politics these days, would continue to oppose the federal government's ability to deal with the illegal migration. But there's a term for it. What is it, Ivan? I'm having a mental
Illegal migration?
No. The
Sanctuary cities. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So for the mayor to decide that the position he held on sanctuary cities was an ill-fated position for the city of New York after it cost them God knows how many hundreds of millions of dollars, of course there's other innuendos in there. The other innuendos is that his charges were dropped and all this other stuff. But the bottom line is, it all starts and ends with the fact that they didn't like that he pulled away from the sanctuary city designation for the city to oppose the federal government, that he sold out, which, in politics, the best thing you could ever do when you make a mistake is admit it and move on and fix it. Yeah. But obviously these folks are not from that school, if they are from any school. And it'll be interesting to see how Democrats react to the governor and to the former governor. So I got to assume there's probably going to be other candidates. I don't think it's going to be just limited to him. But the fact that that's the candidate that's coming out trying to provide leadership for Democrats is really astounding. But shouldn't be too surprising for any of us.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Bloomberg comes back. Jesus. But anything is possible, right? Anything is possible. Who knows? Maybe Rudy comes back. But
I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't either. I think he's pretty damaged right now. It's going to be tough for him. Mr. Producer, what do you got teed up for us?
Reciprocal tariffs.
All right, let's go.
Reciprocal tariffs. Oh.
April 2nd, reciprocal tariffs kick in. And whatever they tariff us, other countries, we will tariff them. That's reciprocal, back and forth. Whatever they tax us, we will tax them. If they do non-monetary tariffs to keep us out of their market, then we will do non-monetary barriers to keep them out of our market. There's a lot of that, too. They don't even allow us in their market. We will take in trillions and trillions of dollars and create jobs like we have never seen before. I did it with China and I did it with others, and the Biden administration couldn't do anything about it because there was so much money they couldn't do anything about it. We have been ripped off for decades by nearly every country on earth, and we will not let that happen any longer.
That's an interesting position.
Yeah, I would say that. How about the first reaction I can give you, Ivan, is that this is the new Republican Party, right?
Yeah.
Tariffs are not something that has been historically a view of the world.
All right, he's back. But yeah, Republicans haven't supported tariffs since Eisenhower.
Been the position that we've ever taken. Much like to.
He's out again. But yeah, so you went in and out, but I was jumping in and saying that last time Republicans supported tariffs was Eisenhower, right? So it's been a long time.
So much like tariffs are not a position that have been espoused by Republicans for many decades. We have for many years, also soon to be many decades, also become, if not anti-free traders, we have been significant questioners of free trade. And really, at the end of the day, to be fair, the free trade agreements have been improved, which is really the position that the president took in his first term. And it's fair to say that NAFTA was improved, but the rhetoric was an anti-free trade rhetoric because of the reality of the times. So I don't want to mix a complicated issue and complicate it all the more. But I just wanted to say that we have to point to the fact that political rhetoric of the times are very different for us as a party. And at the same time, the election results where we've had support from labor like never seen before is something that obviously we have to credit President Trump for. When big unions like the AFL-CIO decide to not endorse one candidate or the other, which is a big slap on the face to Democrats, is because they didn't want to have to do what they really wanted to do, which is obviously not support Harris. They just stayed neutral. So stay neutral is a different way of supporting Donald Trump. So you put all these issues together, and you have to conclude that we're living different times. The issue of calling it a reciprocal tariff, which what it really means is if you're going to tariff me, I'm going to tariff you the exact amount.
Yeah.
Is I guess a way to make it politically much more understandable, much more acceptable. And to me, it's all about the U.S. really working hard to once again have the ground and standing worldwide that we have lost for too many years based on, namely the Obama-Biden leadership, where we have weakened our position.
Yeah.
We have weakened who we are as a nation. And to say we're the leaders of the free world is a hard thing to say because we're just not, we're not respected as we should, as we used to be. So it's.
All right, he went away. He's having an issue with his connection.
I'm back.
He's back. He's back. Yep. He's back.
It's one of Donald Trump's, President Trump's efforts to bring the United States back to the standing where it belongs and to get some respect worldwide, which God knows has been lacking. So, is it a risky economic move to import, to increase, 25%, anything coming from Mexico and Canada, and 10 originally from China and another 10 from China, and we're up to 20 now. Of course, especially China, based on the volume of products that come from China. But at the same time, I understand his approach to getting all of their attention. And if I were a betting person, I'd say to you that the tariffs coming from these countries are going to, eventually, sooner and later, probably change. Because if it impacts us, it's going to impact them all the further. So I think they're going to probably reconsider. So this reciprocity, which is I'm going to give you exactly the same dosage of what you give me, is going to change. But it's taking a little bit of a getting used to for a lot of Republicans just because it's not historically the way we have managed our trade efforts. But I support the president in it. I believe that it's gotten their attention on the matters that we need them to be focused on, needless to say, not limited to, but especially with the issues of illegal migration and the issues of fentanyl, which are killing Americans. And I suspect that we're going to continue to get their attention and support in resolving these issues. If I were to be a betting man on this subject matter, but yeah, I agree. It's a little bit of a different approach for Republicans who have historically been involved in free trade efforts and different approaches to how we manage our trade with countries all over the world.
Yeah, no, I agree. And a couple points that I want to make, and we have to go to break, is when Donald Trump talked about trade, he said there were very different times when we put those in place. So he wasn't against them. He said, they were very poor countries back then. Now they're rich countries. So now we need to renegotiate, right? We need to take a look at them because the scales have changed. And on the AFL-CIO and the unions, it's very interesting because you're right. They didn't endorse anybody, but the base, when they had their internal polls, they had numbers like 2/3 supported Trump. Why didn't they endorse Trump? That's very telling, right? Because they didn't want to go burn that bridge with the Democrats in case somehow they pulled a victory out. So it's pretty crazy. But we'll see what happens. I agree with you with that. But let's go to break real quick, and we'll come back. We'll come right back.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to MyPillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
All right, our friend Mike Lindell. Yeah, dude, on the free trade stuff, it's remarkable. I think, look, reciprocal tariffs. We saw something that just broke, while we were doing the show, that Trump has exonerated the auto industry from the tariffs between Mexico and Canada. So that's interesting. Specifically said the automakers have gone to him and asked for an exception. So he's granting them a 30-day exception, not a lot. They've also committed to moving plants and start building cars here. So maybe that's part of the strategy or the negotiation. But everything he does, and you've said this very well 100 times, is everything he does for a reason. He doesn't just wake up one day with a wild hair up his ass and say, you know what, I'm going to go tariff the shit out of the whole world. He's got a strategy. He's got a strategy behind it and a reason for what he does, right? And it's part of a negotiating tactic that he uses, right?
Undoubtedly. If you haven't read the book, The Art of the Deal, you should.
Yeah.
But if you haven't read it, you can get I'm going to date myself here, but you can get the Cliff Notes just by watching what he does every day, because it's very systematically, follows general thoughts that at the end of the day, relate to some basic principles. It's a little bit to simplify to suggest that it's all about the art of the deal is not totally it doesn't really do it fully justice because it's a little bit more complex than that.
Yeah.
But what I'm trying to say to you is that for those who wonder if the things he does are really insane practices or not, but just follow it by reading The Art of the Deal, and you'll realize that there's general principles on what he decides to do that are based on movements that he believes the other side will do that may not necessarily mean that the decision he makes on this move is the final move. There's other potential. There's some risks that it takes to govern that way and lead that way. You got to have obviously leadership skills and courage, which we know he lacks none.
Yeah.
But it's really an impressive way of doing things because it really it really has. It's really art form. It's not. There's nothing accidental in what he does. There's
Yeah.
nothing improvised in what he ever decides to do.
100%, man. 100%. So here's my next question for you. I mean, it's pretty clear, right? So why do they continue to underestimate him? Is it back to that mental illness, to that derangement syndrome? Because it can't be that stupid. I mean, we saw the Penguin. We saw fucking just that nasty bastard Schumer in the previous clip with that nasty face when they're applauding, Trump. Is it that much hate? I mean, what I don't understand it. He went into a piece. I don't think we have the clip, last night, but you remember it when he was talking about lawfare and this and that. And he goes, "How did that work out for you guys? It didn't work out real well, did it? Because I'm here now." Like saying, dude, you continue to underestimate, you continue to overplay your hands, and you continue to get fucking beat down by me. Jorge, can you shed some light into this, or is this unexplainable? Do we need a psychiatrist? Maybe we need a psychiatrist. Hold on, let's see if he comes back. But maybe we need a psychiatrist. I've been saying this for over a decade. He's back. I've been saying this for over a decade. Is the Democrats and the left need less politics and more psychiatrists, and I think this is an example. I mean, I don't know. You help us decipher this, man.
I got to tell you, I really, yes. Is there something to do here with the derangement? Of course it is. You got to think.
Yeah.
You got to think.
Yeah.
But quite frankly, you would think that after losing the way they lost, they would have quick.
He's having a hard time with that connection for some reason. But,
I'm sorry. I'm using my phone rather than my laptop, and every time my call comes in, that's what happens.
Gotcha. So maybe we can. I think if you put it on airplane mode, right? No, you can't put it on airplane mode. Put on do not disturb. There you go. If you put on do not disturb, it'll do that. But go ahead.
So what I was trying to say to you is simply that I don't comprehend how 100 days into this nothing's changed, because you'd think you'd have enough time by now to figure this out. I don't comprehend how 100 days into this, the same practices would continues to be utilized, which is the protest and the calling him names and the signs being pulled up in a State of the Union, which is an embarrassment that a member of Congress
That's never happened. That's never happened before, right, Jorge? You've been following politics. You're a little bit older than I am. We've been following politics for a long, long time, since we were teens. You've never seen this type of shit at a State of the Union, never.
Not at a State of the Union speech. I've never seen that. And if you look at it, what they did was really the stupidest thing they can do, because all you have to do is replace the sign with another sign, which is what's been going on in social media.
Yeah.
If you go to it, you'll see that they replace the words with not so kind words about themselves.
Yeah. All the memes are crazy. They're hilarious.
They're hilarious. So, and you would think that would be an easy thing to rationalize if you pass your first marketing course, marketing 101, especially with the ability based on technology to just change, transpose and change photos the way it happens today. But whatever, nothing changes. It doesn't make any sense. My thought is, so what options do they have? Do they have a way to challenge him on for example, one of the things that was expected to have happened was that he promised that on day one he was going to take care of the supermarket prices, eggs and all this stuff, right? And that they were going to call the bluff on him because egg prices were higher now than they ever were under Biden's worst days. And anybody that has half a brain knows that you're not going to resolve the cost of
groceries,
food
yeah, in
items,
50-something days, 60 days, right. Yep.
Right. It takes a while. It takes a process. And I guess my point is it's, when you have the bully pulpit and a megaphone of the president, it's not an easy thing to take on, obviously, especially when you're in the minority. But you gotta assume that by now, 100 days into it, they would have done some kind of market study to figure out for real, not just because Trump says this or Trump says that, but for real, where the American people are thinking, which was really the fallacy of the campaign. That campaign, they had to have known a long time before Election Day that they were going to be destroyed. They had to have known that. But what are they doing in basic, again, 101 preparation to understand where, of all people, the Democrats, who are the masters of polling, where people are. And so I'm going around in circles because I'm having trouble trying to understand how they have not, progressed from where they were when they lost and tried something new. And, if you think that not, changing your tune is going to be what you need to do, then why has his popularity increased since he got elected?
Well, and you saw the numbers, right? 76% of Americans approved of his speech last night, according to CNN and YouGov. I mean, that's got to fucking irk them like fucking nothing, right? That's got to drive them crazy. I saw it last night live. The frickin' CNN guy he didn't know how to report it, and he said, I want to make, something clear before I show the numbers, that normally, whoever's in power is going to have, more people watching than the other side. And, we've seen it during the Trump years, so we had, 30% Democrats, 32% Democrats, 41% Republicans, and the rest were independents. So, this number doesn't really represent, the real population of the country. I was like, dude, he didn't know how to kill the poll any harder. But I want to go back to something that you were talking about, the art of the deal and how he negotiates and does things. So, David, why don't you cue up the Ukraine thing, and then let's go to Marco.
I'm also working tirelessly to end the savage conflict in Ukraine. Millions of Ukrainians and Russians have been needlessly killed or wounded in this horrific and brutal conflict with no end in sight. The United States has sent hundreds of billions of dollars to support Ukraine's defense with no security, with no anything. Do you want to keep it going for another 5 years? Yeah, you would say Pocahontas says yes.
Oh my God, that was brutal. Look at that, Pocahontas. She's a fucking loser. What an embarrassment.
2,000 people are being killed every single week.
What an embarrassment.
More than
dude.
that.
What an absolute embarrassment. And she's sitting there clapping. Yeah, she wants more of the same crap. Mr. Producer, see if you can find that clip that I just sent you. But the reason I brought that up is because everybody was screaming mayhem Friday after the Oval Office thing. And now since Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, today, you have Zelensky every day saying that today was the strongest statement that he had, was that the Ukrainian people want peace, that they're ready for peace, that they're ready to come back, that they want to do the deal. Doesn't sound like Trump blew up anything. On the contrary, right? It goes back to what you were saying. It's how he negotiates. He's gonna he's gonna pin you against a fucking wall, and he's gonna force you to fucking make a decision, right?
So last night, what does he say? He said he appreciated Zelensky's comments, which was related to obviously the apology, right? No. He appreciated it, but he didn't dive into it. It's kind of like, again, part of that art of the deal where he wants to continue to
bash. Right?
Exactly. But yet, what did he do over the weekend? He paused all military aid going to Kiev, right? So, and he's going to continue to do that as Zelensky continues to apologize.
And that's a great point, because nobody was going to call his bullshit at that point. You said, you want to call my bullshit? You think it's a bluff? Fuck it. Here you go. We're cutting everything off, right? Go ahead.
Yeah. No, so he went ahead and cut the military aid off, and then he kind of left them speechless. So what do they say now? But what happened? You had Zelensky running to France and to England, who all of a sudden decided to say that they were going to be supportive.
Yeah.
Where have they been all along, right? What's the coincidence about that? It's like you want to sit there and you want to say, well, wow, what kind of game are we talking about? But again, it points to who's really on top and who's actually negotiating. Back to his argument about the full set of cards. I think the full set of cards are owned by Trump, not by Zelensky.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, the United States should be wanting France and England and others to, be a part of the solution. It's their war to support as much as it is ours, right? It's fascinating to watch how those things go, kind of like unnoticed by regular market TV, right? It's like, it's like that. It's like it never even happened. And you got Zelensky running around like a crazy man trying to, get Trump's attention. And meanwhile, Trump is enjoying every bit of it because, he's got him playing to his tune, not to their tune, right?
Yeah. Let me ask you a question really quick that brings us back to Florida and to our friend Marco in the Oval Office. The look in his face, he was fucking pissed off. And, because that was a State Department deal. I mean, this guy came in, that deal was done. He was supposed to come in. It was protocol. Come in, sign, take the picture, have a statement, and leave. Right? And and it didn't go that way. And Marco then did the tours, on the TV shows and whatnot, and you could tell that he was not a happy camper about that. And I know Marco, I know Marco, but why don't you, let us in? I know, you have a lot more diplomacy in your background than I do. I don't have any. That is the farthest thing that I may have is diplomacy. That's why the show is called Going Rogue. But walk us through what he was thinking, what he felt. I mean, it probably wasn't good, right? I mean, he just got fucking embarrassed in front of his boss, right? I mean, or did he not get embarrassed? I mean, what happened there?
Ivan, it's kind of hard to tell because, the one thing that you saw was that there wasn't a lot of participation by the Secretary of State at the meeting, right?
Yeah.
But is that surprising when you have the president and the vice president,
right.
sitting there, which, by the way, in of itself, it's kind of unusual to have the president and the vice president
Right.
jointly participate in a meeting like that one. Not that they got into this active diplomacy of negotiating the deal, because you're right, the deals are usually done by the time the visits take place. It's ceremonial.
Yeah.
It's not to negotiate the deal.
Right.
Okay. But I guess what I'm trying to say to you is because there's a lot of uniquenesses in how that meeting seemed to have been set up, you got to wonder what role he was to have played. The vice president took a much more active role in a meeting of that nature than you would think a vice president would normally play. Okay.
Yeah.
To the point where they're doing good cop, bad cop. Which again, I think it's part of the style and part of some would argue that that's the way he planned it. But what I'm trying to say to you is, for me, it's hard to kind of understand whether he was frustrated. He, meaning the Secretary of State, was frustrated because of the role he wasn't playing, or he was frustrated because of what he was hearing from Zelensky. Common sense tells me he has to have been very, very, very frustrated at what was coming out of Zelensky's mouth.
Yeah, because he sabotaged the meeting that he put together, right?
Because it's unusual that normally a visiting head of state behaves that way. All things being equal, like Trump reminded him, he wasn't in the best winning location, if you will, from a strategic standpoint.
Yeah.
So the attitude was a little surprising. So he was probably very, very surprised, very, very shocked. But there was a lot of uniquenesses to that meeting that were also a little bit maybe came into play into the body language that you saw there. Because again, just very unusual that anything but what is scripted. Now, should they have thought of Zelensky being the rogue, no pun intended, maverick that he's shown to be, would have pulled something like this? No, I don't think they should be surprised. But I think in of itself, it's a lot of firepower there. President, Vice President, Secretary of State. Yeah. It's a lot of firepower.
I mean, he wasn't going to talk over the vice president or the president, right? So obviously he had his role. Well, what I'm talking about is the following, and you have experience doing it because I've actually traveled with you numerous times to go do these things, to put these things together, agreements or whatever, and then, the boss shows up for a meeting that's, like you said, ceremonial, right? Like FTAA or, endorsement of Miami for the Secretariat, right? How many trips did you take? I took a couple with you. I can't remember how many, to get, certain countries to say, okay, we're going to endorse Miami. And then, Governor Bush would show up and, dog and pony show and then the endorsement, right? It took a lot of work behind the scenes. That's what I'm saying. From your experience, how did Marco feel? Because I can imagine he probably put a lot of fucking time into that being a ceremonial meeting and it fucking exploded, right? He probably wasn't happy. That's where I was going. Not that, he didn't speak, is that it fucking exploded, And
so he probably felt the same way. You're going to enjoy hearing this. He probably felt exactly the same way I felt when President Toledo, after having agreed to endorse Miami via Minister Kuczynski, decided to reconsider last minute and not do the endorsement. And that's when I got coined the nickname of being the guerrilla diplomat by Governor Bush. The rest is history. But it's a true story, as you probably remember that one.
Oh yeah, I was there. I was there. And didn't we plant the question with somebody in the media to ask directly or something? I can't remember, bro. That was Jorge Arrizurieta 101. Motherfucker, you don't want to endorse it, I'm gonna fucking pin you to it right now, right? And force it out of you, right? Say no in front of fucking Governor Bush, you piece of shit, right? And he couldn't,
so true.
right?
I'll never forget when I moved on from there and went back to the private sector.
Yeah.
And they did this going away, whatever reception, lunch, whatever, and the governor did a videotaped message. He called me the guerrilla diplomat, and then he went on to explain why I was a guerrilla diplomat. And it was the funniest thing. I had no idea until that day that I had earned the proud badge of being a guerrilla diplomat. But yeah,
that's right.
So yeah, I think there was a little bit of that for sure. Is not what was planned, and that's a natural reaction for certain. But you know, there's a lot of uniquenesses taking on in that meeting. A lot of things are
and it goes back to what you were saying about that's how Trump negotiates, and people don't get it. They continue to underestimate. We're going to go to a commercial break, and we're going to be right back to continue talking about this. And we have a clip from Marco Rubio.
I'm excited to announce that we're having our first ever mega sale on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save over 50% on this season's flannel sheets. Queen size only $59.98. Kings only $69.98. They sell out fast every year, so order now. Save 20% on our brand new My Crosses. They're designed in the likeness of the one I've worn every day for over 20 years. They come in men's and women's, and they're made right here in the USA. Get our 2025 six-piece My Towel sets for only $29.98. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. And our best-selling standard My Pillows, just $14.98. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use this promo code to take advantage of our first ever mega sale. But wait, remember that $75 free shipping rule? Well, that ship is sailed, because right now, every order ships absolutely free.
There we go. So we're back. Don't forget, promo code IGH. Promo code IGH. Get those big discounts, and let's help Mike Lindell keep kicking ass out of all the cancel culture and liberal pieces of shit. Jorge, we're back. David, why don't you run that Marco clip? Look at Jorge looking at his notes. He took copious notes last night as a good student of government affairs, of politics. Man, this guy's a political animal like very, very few. Let's run the clip.
To further enhance our national security, my administration will be reclaiming the Panama Canal, and we've already started doing it. Just today, a large American company announced they are buying both ports around the Panama Canal and lots of other things having to do with the Panama Canal and a couple of other canals. The Panama Canal was built by Americans for Americans, not for others, but others could use it. But it was built at tremendous cost of American blood and treasure. 38,000 workers died building the Panama Canal. They died of malaria. They died of snake bites and mosquitoes. Not a nice place to work. They paid them very highly to go there, knowing there was a 25% chance that they would die. The most expensive project also that was ever built in our country's history, if you bring it up to modern day costs. It was given away by the Carter administration for $1, but that agreement has been violated very severely. We didn't give it to China. We gave it to Panama, and we're taking it back. And we have Marco Rubio in charge. Good luck, Marco. Now, we know who to blame if anything goes wrong. Marco's been amazing, and he's going to do a great job. Think of it. He got 100 votes.
All right, that's good. Yeah. Yeah. That was that a shot across the bow, or what the hell was that? That was Trump, though. But, it was interesting that he said, a large American company bought the 2 ports. That was BlackRock, by the way. I don't know why you didn't say that. I can assume why, because there's a lot of animosity towards that company. But BlackRock bought those 2 ports from the Chinese. So, he didn't take it back, militarily. He just, had somebody go out and buy them, and now they're in U.S. control. So that's very interesting. And Marco was all smiles. I think that was just a jest. He's just playing around. I think he generally likes Marco, and what I'm surprised to hear, Jorge, is when he, on the Marco thing, on the Panama thing, that he didn't touch Cuba, Venezuela, Nicaragua. Why do you think that is? Obviously, it's by design, because they take, they how they craft these things. You've been around them.
I'd go beyond that. So when he sent the envoy, oh my Lord, Thiel, when he sent Peter Thiel, who is one of his closest friends, to negotiate with dictator Maduro, because the guy is a thug if there ever was one. And he comes back with this longtime prisoner.
Actually, comes back with several, right? He comes back with several prisoners that Maduro had, and that was a big win. But, going back to the Marco thing, look, the Panama Canal, that was his first trip, Marco's first trip to Panama. That's a win for Marco, man. That's a win for Marco. I agree, Peter Thiel, he was former head of DNI, so, there was a reason for that. But I'm pretty sure that Marco played a role in all that as well. I don't think there was separation. But he's built a dream team with a great cabinet. And last night you heard him really going one by one down the aisle, when he talked about Bobby Kennedy and, the autism and the foods. And, he talked about Marco, he talked about Pam Bondi, he mentioned Cash, over at FBI. He really highlighted his team almost individually, every single one of them. And it goes to show, this is a team that he's handpicked. He's picked himself. In the past, in his first term, that really wasn't the case. He came in and relied really on the rhinos, on, Reince Priebus and the establishment Republican, thinking he was going to get a fair shake with those guys. And that never happened. They betrayed him. They were in cahoots with the left. They were part of this Russian hoax. They wanted to take him out. We saw McCain, patting Schumer on the shoulder, after he killed, after he voted against killing Obamacare. And he says to Schumer, let's see him try and make America great now, or something like that. And, it was just a horrible situation, and why he has such disdain for establishment Republicans. And I think that's why the base hates him, too. The base really does not like the establishment Republicans, the long-term, so-called rhinos, because historically, what have they done? They really haven't done anything for the people. All they've really worried about was concentration of wealth, concentration of power, advancing themselves, and that was it. So it's been tough. Let me see if he's coming back. And if he's not coming back, then, that. We'll call it a wrap after a couple clips. You have another clip up there, right? You have the Jocelyn clip.
Yeah.
All right, let's roll that.
All right, let's drop it in.
Much work to be done. Here tonight is a woman I have gotten to know, Alexis Nungari from Houston. Wonderful woman. Last June, Alexis's 12-year-old daughter, her precious Jocelyn, walked to a nearby convenience store. She was kidnapped, tied up, assaulted for 2 hours under a bridge, and horrifically murdered. Arrested and charged with this heinous crime are 2 illegal alien monsters from Venezuela, released into America by the last administration through their ridiculous open border. The death of this beautiful 12-year-old girl and the agony of her mother and family touched our entire nation greatly. Alexis, I promised that we would always remember your daughter, your magnificent daughter, and earlier tonight I signed an order keeping my word to you. One thing I have learned about Jocelyn is that she loved animals so much. She loved nature. Across Galveston Bay, from where Jocelyn lived in Houston, you will find a magnificent national wildlife refuge, a pristine, peaceful, 34,000-acre sanctuary for all of God's creatures on the edge of the Gulf of America. Alexis, moments ago, I formally renamed that refuge in loving memory of your beautiful daughter, Jocelyn. So, Mr. Vice President, if you would, may I have the order?
And it's showing the order. That's good, Chuck. So, everybody saw this last night. I mean, what a beautiful gesture by the president. And, we saw the, nobody stood up from the left. Nobody got up. Nobody cared. Goes back to show that they really don't give a shit about the country. They don't give a shit about anything except their radicalized mental illness and Trump derangement syndrome. You have that clip that Jorge mentioned earlier about working together. And, that was an interesting piece because he did bring it up, and he brought it up directly speaking to the Democrats about let's come together, let's do this together. And can you put it up?
So Democrats sitting before me, for just this one night, why not join us in celebrating so many incredible wins for America? For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
Wow. She's absolutely heinous, not just in looks, but just as a person. Absolutely heinous. You can see she was almost angry that the president suggested that they work together. Look, guys, it's a sad day. It's a sad day for America because the Democratic Party is a band of lunatics. They need more psychiatrists, less politics. And I don't think they're going to go see, mental health help, which they need dearly. And it's going to be a tough time for, I think, as long as we maintain majority, as long as we don't lose, Murkowski and Collins and, who knows who else, McConnell, we should be good. But we need to pass, these legislation that the president is proposing. We need to pass a tax cut. We need to do so many things, especially what he proposed last night, which is accelerating the deportation of all these criminals. Once we can get that done, I think, we're going to be in a safer place, better place. The economy is going to start humming, of course. And look, don't believe all the hype from what everybody says on, he's creating a trade war. This is going to be chaotic. This is going to be a big problem. It's not going to be. The other countries are not going to be able to sustain any kind of trade war. Look, we have 350 million Americans here. How many of the Canadians have? 40. We'll crush them in a month. They're not going to get into a trade war with us. This, I think it was the prime minister or governor or whatever they call him over in Ontario saying that he's going to cut off electricity. That's total crap. It's not going to happen. It's the left playing bullshit games and stories and trying to hype up crap. But nothing's really going to happen. But anyways, guys, hope you enjoyed it. We had a good show today. I know it was a little bit longer than most days, but we got two for one today. Hopefully, you got a lot of it. We'll see you. I think we're seeing you tomorrow because we're moving. I think we're moving Law Enforcement Fridays to tomorrow because we have the pot lobbyists on Friday to come and talk to us about what in the hell is going on in D.C. Are they going to get not lobbying? Are they going to get marijuana legalized? I don't know. I mean, is that good? Is that bad? What does it mean? Let's hear them out, and we can have our own debate about that and see how it goes. So, we might move Law Enforcement Fridays to tomorrow, or we're probably going to do 2 podcasts on Friday. So there you go. We'll see you. If not tomorrow, we'll see you Friday. Take care.